If you're feeling behind on retirement, retiring at 62 might actually be more doable than you think. In fact, it might even be smarter than working longer if you avoid a few hidden traps that catch most people off guard. Now, if you don't know me, I'm Tom, founder of GT Wealth, and on this channel, I help people figure out not just when they can retire, but how to build a life they never want to retire from. So here's what most people don't realize. Those retirement benchmarks, you've heard about these, like the 4% rule or that you need to save 10 times your income, might be setting you up to work longer than necessary. And delaying Social Security, sometimes that actually works against you. So today, I'll break down those two key points and show you exactly why they're misleading. And then I'll end by showing you a 4-step early retirement framework that fixes it all. So let's first start with why most retirement benchmarks are so misleading, because believing them could lead to a lot of unnecessary stress and constantly feeling like you're behind. Here's what nobody tells you about these retirement benchmarks. It's almost like they're designed to keep you working longer than you need to. You've probably heard you need $1 million saved or 10 times your salary, or that you must follow the 4% rule to retire safely. But here's what these cookie cutter formulas completely miss about your actual life. First, they assume your spending stays the same forever, when in reality, most retirees naturally spend less as they age. Think about it. When you retire, you're not commuting to work, you're done paying for kids' expenses, and you're likely living a quieter life. Now, maybe in the first few years of retirement, spending is a little bit higher because you're finally traveling and doing the things you enjoy. But over time, things start to slow down and your spending starts to decrease. Second, the benchmarks completely ignore taking Social Security at age 62. Even at a reduced amount, this income stream can dramatically change your retirement math, which is something we'll dive into next. And third, they assume you have zero flexibility, like you're some robot stuck paying the same bills forever, right? Maybe you'd enjoy some part-time work doing something you love. Maybe you'd downsize your home. Maybe you'd adjust your discretionary spending. These formulas completely ignore your ability to be flexible and treat you like you're locked into every expense forever. And this is why so many successful people feel trapped. They're using broken measuring sticks that make retirement feel impossible. Now, I've been doing this a long time. I've seen clients retire comfortably on $600,000, while others with $1.5 million still feel anxious about their money. And the difference is the comfortable retirees had a plan built specifically for their situation, not some generic formula. So here's the truth. Being behind isn't about hitting an arbitrary savings target. It's about not having a personalized plan because you might be much closer to retirement than you think. Now, let's talk about Social Security timing, because there's another myth that could be keeping you working longer than necessary. You probably heard you should wait until 70 to maximize your benefits, which honestly isn't a bad idea, because every year you delay your Social Security past your full retirement age, you earn an 8% increase in your monthly benefit. But for some early retirees, this advice can actually cost you money. Here's what most people miss. Successful early retirement isn't about having the biggest nest egg. It's about securing guaranteed income that covers your basic needs. Nearly 1 out of every 3 retirees claim Social Security early at age 62, accepting that 30% reduction compared to waiting until full retirement age. Now, are they all making a mistake? No, not at all. In fact, a recent Vanguard study found that for certain retirees, claiming Social Security early actually preserves more wealth over time compared to waiting until age 70. Now, why? Because it creates a financial buffer during the most dangerous years of retirement, which is those first few years. When, if the market were to crash, it can destroy your entire retirement plan. Think about it this way. If you retire at 62 without Social Security, you're forced to withdraw from your investments to pay your bills. If a market crash comes along in year 1 or year 2, and you're selling stocks at rock bottom prices just to survive, that's called sequence of returns risk, and it can destroy even million-dollar portfolios, because what ends up happening is you're selling stocks when they're down. So you can take that income, right? But now there's less money in the account to recover when the market comes back. And so you end up slowly draining your nest egg over time. But with Social Security flowing in at age 62, You have guaranteed income covering your essential expenses while your investments recover, so you're not forced to sell anything during the worst possible time. Sometimes taking 70% of something guaranteed is smarter than waiting for 100% of something you might not live to enjoy, especially when that guaranteed income protects your other assets. So what's the real secret to retiring at 62 without millions in the bank? It comes down to flipping the question. Instead of asking, how much more do I need to save? Start asking, how much do I actually need to spend to fund my lifestyle? Let me show you exactly what this looks like with Paul and Carol Sample, a real couple I worked with who felt completely behind. Paul and Carol had saved $1 million by age 60. Now, every online calculator was telling them they needed $1.5 million to retire. They were stressed, working in jobs they no longer enjoyed, and were sacrificing their health for a number that wasn't even accurate. Here's what we discovered when we built their actual financial plan. Their real need turned out to be $72,000 per year or $6,000 per month to fund their retirement, cover housing costs, and their travel goals. But here's what changed everything. Social Security at 62 would pay them a combined $50,000 annually. So they only need $22,000 from their portfolio, not the full $72,000. Now, what if we take this a step further and we normalize their spending in retirement to make it more realistic? Because right now, we have them spending $6,000 per month for the rest of their lives, and that's adjusted for inflation every single year. As I mentioned earlier, this isn't exactly how spending works in retirement. It usually starts high in the beginning when you're healthy and you're active, then decreases in your 70s as you start to slow down, and finally comes back up later in life, usually from healthcare costs. It's very rare that it's going to be a straight line. So if we change retirement spending to the retirement spending smile, that bumps us up to an 82% success rate, which is a much better position to be in. So in the end, Paul and Carol retired at 62 with their $1 million nest egg, realizing that it was not just possible, but it was achievable. Sure, working until 65 or 67 would give them more wealth, but it also means sacrificing their healthiest, most active years. Paul and Carol chose to retire on their own terms with a well-crafted plan, and it dramatically improved their quality of life. More often than not, these benefits outweigh the financial gains of working longer and saving more money. Now, understanding the strategy is one thing, but implementing it with confidence is another. So here's a simple 4-step framework to put this into action. Step 1 is to get crystal clear on your real expenses. And this isn't about creating a budget. We're simply trying to understand what you actually need versus what you want. So first, write down your essential expenses. And these are the non-negotiables, right? This is like housing, utilities, food, transportation, and insurance. Then identify your discretionary spending, or maybe your fun money. And this can be travel, entertainment, gifts for grandkids, hobbies, etc. Doing this will give you so much clarity on everything because most people guess at what they need for retirement and they end up way off. So this will help for more accurate planning. Step 2 is map your guaranteed income to your essential expenses. Here's where Social Security at 62 becomes your planning anchor, even if you're not sure if you're going to claim it yet. Add in any pensions or other guaranteed income, and then compare those to your essential expenses. So if your essentials are $70,000 per year and Social Security provides $50,000, your true retirement gap is only $20,000, not $70,000. That changes everything, and it makes it much easier to fill the gap. Step 3 is build in flexibility. Now, we all know life happens and we don't know what life is going to throw our way, so your plan needs to be able to bend without breaking. Here's what to factor in. Remember that your spending will naturally decrease over time. The Center for Retirement Research found that average retired households cut spending by 1.5% each year throughout retirement. Also consider part-time work, doing something you enjoy for maybe, 10 hours a week. And this isn't not necessarily because you need the money, right? But it's a way to stay busy, stay engaged, and it helps reduce risk. All of these are options that can reduce risk in retirement and increase your confidence. Step 4 is optimize your withdrawal strategy. This is about tax efficiency in retirement. So we want to fill up favorable tax brackets first with pre-tax IRA withdrawals, then use taxable accounts to cover additional needs at more friendly capital gains tax rates. And I did an entire video on this topic breaking down which accounts to withdraw from first in retirement. So if you want to watch that later, I'll link it in the description below. So the real risk isn't running out of money, it's running out of time. I've seen this too many times when people delay retirement for just 2 more years to hit some arbitrary number only to then face health issues that limit their ability to enjoy what they've worked so hard for. Sure, we can work another 2 or more years, you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. What's the point of retiring if we don't have our health and we are unable to enjoy it? So if this resonates with you and you want to see exactly what's possible for your specific situation, click the link below the video and I'll show you our process and how we can help you plan your retirement with confidence. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.